For Sharon, today was a great day to support her nephew, Adam Dixon, who won a bronze medal at the 2014 Sochi Paralympic Games.
It's great to see all these people come out to celebrate their local athletes, whether they're winners or losers. I think we really need to support the people that are out there doing the things that we all wish we could do.
She, Dixon, and many others gathered for a free public skate at the Allendale Recreation Center in Barrie. The event was hosted by the City of Barrie to welcome home athletes who played in the 2014 Sochi Winter Games. Dixon is a Barrie local and says it's great to be back in town to celebrate.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, I do miss the village and the 24-hour kitchen, but it's nice to be back, and especially events like this where the community comes together to celebrate with you.
Ice skating duo Mitchell Islam and Alexandra Paul also attended the event. While the pair did not win any medals, they both said it was a worthwhile experience.
I wasn't aware of how big of a scale the event was going to be, and when we got there and were able to walk in the opening ceremonies, it was so incredible. I'll never be able to experience anything like that in my life again.
So many memories to last more than a lifetime. Marching into the stadium for the opening ceremonies is definitely a highlight, you know, with 200 some odd other Canadian athletes.
Barrie Mayor Jeff Lehman also attended the event with his family and gave his thanks to the athletes.
We are so proud of all 5 of these Barrie Olympians and Paralympians. It's just great to have an opportunity to recognize them here in their hometown.
The athletes also tell me that if they're not part of the 2018 Winter Games in South Korea, they'll still be cheering on all our Canadian players who will be fighting their hardest for each and every medal. Reporting from Barrie, I'm Stephen Donkers. These bugs may look harmless, but according to forestry supervisor Rob Fennell, these beetles are deadly for ash trees. Just look for yourself. All this damage was caused by this little species. In fact, these insects have been munching away on thousands of Oshawa's ash trees since 2011.
Once you discover it, you find that it's been in the location for a few years, and the damage in the trees just explodes really at that time.
Oshawa isn't the only city dealing with this problem. It's also in Northumberland, and experts say Peterborough is next. So how are the bugs getting here so quickly? Paul Hemmage is the city's urban forestry specialist. He says the problem is when people transfer firewood from one area to another.
It will definitely get here because it does spread naturally, but it's just spread much quicker by the movement of firewood and ash materials.
And even though the insects haven't wreaked havoc on trees in Peterborough yet, Hemmage and his crew aren't taking any chances. That's why they're setting up more than 20 traps to see where the small, lethal bugs could be in the city.
We're looking, obviously, for the emerald ash borer beetle, which will be attracted to the trap because it has a bait on it and get stuck to the outside of it.
So far, no bugs have been found, but Hemmage says it's inevitable they are coming. And here's the scary part. One pair of these beetles can produce 1 trillion offspring in only 9 years.
It is a huge deal because it's going to kill a lot of our forests.
The question now is, when will the beetles get here? It's a question Hemmage can't answer. That's why it's crucial for people to be aware of the species and to avoid moving firewood at all cost. And speaking of cash, it will cost the city more than $5 million over the next 10 years to monitor, treat, and remove any dead ash trees. And to think it's all because of this beetle. Stephen Donkers, Czechs News Watch, Peterborough. Alyssa Falop came from Bobcaygeon today to visit her grandparents in Coburg, but she came across a surprise in the downtown core.
It's pretty cool because, you know, you get the fresh air while you're playing a nice tune on the piano, and then you get to see everybody, and it sets the mood.
In 6 different locations around town are 6 used pianos for anyone to play. The pianos are part of a summer-long event called Keys to Our Town. It's aimed at giving anyone a chance to showcase their musical talent. In March, the Coburg's event team put out a request to the public for any used pianos. While 6 were picked, nearly 40 were donated.
We wanted to do something new where we were bringing music and art to the streets. So the idea is to create a public art project as well as a way to gather people around.
And so far, it's getting people's attention, such as Linda White, who is visiting from New York State. She saw this piano and knew she had to play a tune.
I was very surprised. The first time I saw one, I said, what's a piano doing in the middle of town? Then we saw a second one, and then we saw this one. So I was curious what the purpose was or why they were here. And I'm glad to find out that it's just for our enjoyment.
Regardless if you're a skilled musician or you're learning to play the piano for the first time, you have a chance to play beautiful music outdoors all summer long. Stephen Donkers, Czechs Newswatch, Coburg. The championship series between the Penetang Kings and the Allison Hornets will no doubt be intense. However, the Kings say they have the stronger advantage. I'm Stephen Donkers. Last year, Peterborough's airport was the busiest airport without air traffic control. It's a little cool and crisp out today, but expect a warmer and sunnier weekend coming up. I'll have your 5-day weather forecast after the break. While the Progressive Conservatives are pushing for a different tuition grant system, the Liberal Party has fired back, saying that while the Liberals are still in power, the current tuition program isn't going anywhere. Weston was one of many LRT stops in the former Transit City plan. Some industry professionals say that youth unemployment and vocational training is affected by the job market and what jobs are currently in demand in our economy. Inspired by the Scarborough Garden? Want to start your own? Food Chair recommends meeting with your neighbors to see if they're up for it. I'm Stephen Donkers, and I'll explain how one Canadian clothing company is taking your old donated suits and helping unemployed men secure work. Now, this is actually an increase from last year's election, where over 5,000 votes were cast for a full 5 days of voting. While development plans have stalled here at Woodbine Racetrack, while the $370,000 check is a large sum of cash, the college's Career Center has been swamped with graduating students looking for work for the past few weeks. I'm Stephen Donkers. Have you seen these green traps around Peterborough? Coming up, I'll explain what type of tree-killing bug city officials are on the hunt for.